Hey guys, it's Vic, and today we're going to look at our fourth entry in the Victionary, the Dynamo Roller. Specifically, we'll be sticking to the regular one. The Victionary is a series of guides to help provide a starting point for players looking to pick up new weapons, or those wanting some tips moving forward with the weapons they like. The Dynamo Roller excels at covering large areas of turf with a single swing, making it an absolute monster in splat zones. Of course, you won't be able to stand a chance against a bomb rush, also covering the zone, but you might be able to make their push very short-lived. Some zones, such as the one on Piranha Pit or Camp Triggerfish, can be regained in only 1 or 2 swings. In fact, pretty much every zone in this game can be brought back to neutral in just 1 or 2 swings of the Dynamo. You can also end a push in Clam Blitz or Rainmaker by laying down a new field of wrongly colored turf in front of your opponents before they advance. Your role is to stop pushing opponents, and to get kills when you can. The Dynamo Roller in Splatoon 2 doesn't have that same offensive power it did in Splatoon 1, but it's still very strong. This is a weapon with a really high skill ceiling, but it's really hard to play at first. It's important to know what you're doing and not to rush in. The Dynamo Roller, like all other rollers, can be played with a vertical or a horizontal swing. The horizontal swing unleashes a monstrous wall of ink onto your opponents that will get you a ton of points for your Stingray, as well as keep enemy squids far away from you. It's important to realize that depending on where your Inkling is aiming, the range of your flick can change. You'll see that on the Dynamo Roller, you don't have a standard aiming reticle. Instead, you have a set of pointed lines telling you information about the arc of your roller's swing. Keep that in mind when you're going to flick. I like to call flinging with the vertical swing pool noodling. You have a much weaker swing, but the range is terrifying. You can cover a long stretch of turf in just one slap, which you or your teammates can use to push up into uninhabited enemy territory. Know that it's very predictable that you might make the swing and immediately swim through it, so only do this if your enemies aren't watching. The vertical flick can also reach some very high places that are hard for the Dynamo otherwise, giving the weapon some well-needed versatility. Don't forget that if you begin your swing before you hit the ground, then you can jump and get a height-boosted horizontal swing instead. Some Dynamos will use this kind of strategy to keep you from being able to get out of your spawn. If you jump out at just the wrong time on a map like the Reef, you're going to eat that wave of ink. Your horizontal roller can also ink walls. Have you ever been stuck in a corner with an escape route uninked behind you? Try this idea. Use one of your last swings in the direction of your opponents to keep them away. When you're done making your swing, keep holding down your button to roll. Instead of rolling away, jump up against the way in question and you'll paint it. Dynamo play is much easier when you take advantage of roller mechanics. You will have the opportunity to naturally paint your feet, if you want to. Just letting your roller touch the ground before your next swing also means that you can move around faster. You want to be able to move and get away. Letting your roller reach the ground is a very helpful habit that will keep you from being defeated by other players who try to surprise you. All you have to do is paint the ground enough to be able to swim or jump to safety. Listen, in all honesty, the Dynamo just feels good to play. When you get that perfect flick, it's just... But getting that beautiful swing means you have to plan every little thing you do, from your ink management to the exact timing that you're going to swing down. You can't be unprepared. The Dynamo Roller has no forgiveness. Getting that perfect swing is hard. Remember that you can change the direction of your swing after you've committed to it. All you have to do is change the direction that your Inkling is facing. This might accidentally guarantee you a splat. For the rest of this video, I'll probably call this movement a flick. You're trying to predict where your opponent wants to go, but sometimes you can't. But if you see them moving towards you, let's say on the left, why not move your Inkling so you're actually going to shoot on the left? Don't stay flinging to the right if you know they're not going to be there. This works best on maps like Humpback Pump Track and Inkblot Art Academy, where your opponents won't have very much time to react if you start moving towards them. Your Dynamo Roller will work best when you don't have to worry about too many different angles all at once. It'll also benefit from being high up, such as on top of the center tower of Blackbelly Skate Park. One of my favorite places to swing with the Dynamo Roller is actually on Piranha Pit splat zones. You want to go on that right-hand belt. You can cover the zone in Piranha Pit in just a swing or two. From that right-hand belt, you can reach the enemy zone, and that's the one you want to be going for. But you can't rely just on your swing all these games. The Dynamo Roller comes equipped with ink mines and a Stingray. You might be laughing at me by now. Why would you want to play a weapon with ink mines? Well, my friends, the ink mine pairs very well with the Dynamo Roller. As a Dynamo Roller player, you have to know where your opponents are, or predict where they're going to go. Remember what I said before, the Dynamo Roller gives no forgiveness. Why worry where your foes are, when your ink mine can reveal them for you? Similarly, a teammate with point sensors can make your work a whole lot easier. Why not put your ink mines on the tower on tower control? If your opponents rush the tower all at once, that'll be a lot of markings for you and your team. Your horizontal swing can unleash wave after terrifying wave of ink down on the tower once they're marked. A teammate who has point sensors will be extra helpful for you and will pair very well with your mines. Some great ideas are the Splattershot Pro, whose ink storms will allow you to creep up on squids, the Dually Squelchers, which paint better than the Pro and can force opponents out of hiding with missiles, or even the regular 52 Gal, which can provide offensive pressure and use you as a backup during a heated fight. Sure, the ink mine isn't going to help you push back in if your team gets locked out during a match, but hopefully you can take advantage of what the Dynamo does have, long range, and of course, the Stingray. Oh, the Stingray. If you know anything about me, it's that a lot of my main weapons have Stingray. Stingray was nerfed a bit in the new patch, receiving a heavy damage nerf along with now being unusable in spawn. But who cares? Use your Stingray in conjunction with a friend who's rushing out to fight opponents to give your teammate an edge. You're a slow weapon. If you pop your Stingray out in the open, your chances of surviving aren't going to be good. When your Stingray ends, you're a sitting duck until you're done winding up your swing, so be extra careful where you use it. Stingray works great on maps that are long and narrow, like Port Mackerel, Walleye Warehouse, and Manta Maria. If you're having trouble in a match, it's likely your opponents will get complacent and start trying to spawn camp you. If they're all bunched in one place, you might get 2 or more kills with just one Stingray. Don't forget that you don't have to use Stingray the entire time your special is active. You can also use it to watch where your foes move and then aim your Stingray. Another technique is to actually stop your Stingray early and use those last 1 or 2 seconds to see where your opponents are going. Now you'll have the advantage of knowing where they are, and you'll be able to get the jump on them. Speaking of knowing where your opponents are, let's talk about Thermal Ink. Thermal Ink was buffed during the 3.0.0 patch, lasting 12 whole seconds if you lay any direct damage on your opponents. Even the tiniest blob of Dynamo Roller damage will count towards Thermal Ink, meaning that if you hit someone with a partial flick, you'll be able to track them for a long time. Let your opponents think you've forgotten about them while you plan the perfect slap. Carefully give chase by keeping in mind how your opponent moves. Or, use your Thermal Ink to easily win a 1v1 match by hitting them once, backing up when they move towards you, and then swinging your roller in the direction they're trying to charge. Let's talk a little bit more about gear. The Dynamo Roller loves to have as many swings as possible. Ink Saver Main does wonders on the Dynamo Roller. If every swing counts, don't you want as many as possible? I sure do. You could also use quick respawn to make up for any mistakes you might make while trying to play this weapon. The Dynamo can feel like a sitting duck if you miss. A little bit of bomb defense might be able to help you survive to finish your swings. You shouldn't have to swim around constantly while playing the Dynamo Roller, but if you feel like you're being chased a lot, it could be a good option to add some swim speed. Remember though, at the end of the day, all that truly matters is how many of those beautiful squish kills you can get with the Dynamo. Oh, are they embarrassing. They're so fun to get though. That's it for today with the Dynamo Roller. I hope that you learned something new, and you'll be able to learn this weapon faster than I did. Wait, Vasco is releasing a Vanilla Dynamo video at the same time as I am? What a coincidence! If you want to see even more Dynamo gameplay, and watch Vasco's beautifully crafted masterpiece of a video, please click the card on the top right or in the link in the description that'll lead you right to his video. While you're at it, please consider giving him a sub. If you want a chance at having your weapon of choice spotlighted next, please leave a comment below. Thank you, Brett, for the suggestion. Feel free to also talk about your favorite Dynamo Roller strategies here too. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day!